Welcome to day 19 of 100 Days of Propagation with Priscille. Thank you so much for making it this far. Now, if you have the copy, My First ABC Book of Houseplants with you, I want to invite you to take a moment and grab your book and turn to the letter K. You might have already guessed which plant we will be propagating today. We will be taking care of our Kalanchoe. Now, this is such a beautiful plant. It's a very durable plant, I would say. And the fact that it keeps flowering tells me something, that it has very unique traits. Now, did you know that Kalanchoes actually breathe at night? There's not a lot of plants that do that. There's a selective amount of plants that take in CO2 at night. Now, and this falls under these selective plants. And the leaves basically opens up. It's almost like these microscopic little holes on the leaves open up at night and takes in CO2, allows the plant to breathe. And this is an amazing phenomenon because it helps the plant retain water. So it falls under more like a succulent type of plant, almost like, if you want to call it, a hybrid of a succulent or a succulent species of plants. But it's a very, very, very interesting plant. It has a lot of interesting traits that it does that is unique to this particular species. Now, I had mine for quite a bit of time, and it hasn't been loved on thoroughly. And so today, I'm going to take you along the journey of propagating and just helping this beauty feel a little bit more alive. If you have a Kalanchoe and you are propagating with your littles, I invite you to make this as an activity. So what does that look like? It's not just snipping the plant and then the activity's over, but incorporate a creative element in this. So either you can have them color or decorate their vessel, or they can actually draw the plant on paper. And it doesn't have to be green, because Kalanchoes have beautiful variation of flowers, from yellow to orange to red to this beautiful pink. And so allow your child to draw the plant out, either before or after you propagate. Kalanchoes are a flowering succulent, and this one with soft pink blooms. And again, they come in so many different colors and variations. They're absolutely beautiful. They're also known for their thick water storing leaves and long lasting flowers. But what many people don't realize is that some varieties can also develop aerial roots along their stem. And that's exactly what I'm working with today. Kalanchoes belong to the Crassulaceae family, which is native to Madagascar, and you can only imagine how warm, dry it is, and it has strong lights and excellent drainage. And because of this, it's adapted to store water and survive periods of drought, which makes it the best plant that you can think of for plant propagation. Now, on this plant, you can see the aerial roots forming along the stem, and these roots develop when the plant senses humidity and stability, and it gives us a head start when propagating. If your cutting already has aerial roots, then you can plant it directly into soil without needing to water propagate. Before cutting, I usually remove the flowers, and you want to do this too, because flowering takes a lot of energy, and removing blooms allow your cutting to focus entirely on root and leaf development. And so make a clean cut just below the node, and that's where the leaf joints are, ideally right where the aerial roots are already present. Now, even though this cutting already has root, I still allow it to callus slightly before planting, and this basically helps prevent rot, and which is especially important with succulents. And you can also use, I would say, some home remedies, and I love to use cinnamon and it protects the cutting as well. Now, I'm not going to use any root hormone just because normally I propagate with children and you want to have the most natural, safe way of propagating. Now, I'm planting right back into the soil that the mama plant is in. Ideally, I'd love to change the soil into a cactus mix, and I love to use berry plants for that. Unlike other leafy houseplants, remember Kalanchoe prefers to start on the drier side. So don't water immediately. Instead, actually wait for a few days to water. And you can actually wait a few days so the roots can settle and adjust. One of the most common mistakes with Kalanchoe propagation is overwatering. So just be careful with that because the plant stores water in its leaf already. So too much moisture too soon can cause the stem to soften and rot. Remember to place it in a bright indirect light and so there's good airflow, and that helps the cutting establish safely. Now, another interesting fact about Kalanchoe is that they're photoperiodic, which means that its flowering cycle is triggered by longer nights. Isn't that so cool? It's so fascinating. And that's why these plants would actually bloom in late winter or early spring when the daylight hours are shorter. As a new growth appears, it's a sign that the roots have successfully anchored into the soil. Then from there, the plant can be gradually introduced to brighter light and more consistent watering routine. And I want you to remember that propagation like this is a reminder that plants are always adapting. Sometimes even growing roots before we ask them to do so. Right? And when you pay attention to those signs, propagation becomes simpler, more intuitive, and I would say rewarding, but I'd like to mention that it's fun as well. And that was day 19 of 100 Days of Propagation with Priscille. I hope that you have found value in this video and in this series. If you have done so, feel free to hit that like button. And if you have a favorite plant that you love me to propagate, drop it in the comments. And that is our way of connecting with each other. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 20 of 100 Days of Propagation with Priscille.